So this next short take, it's going to be about Stephen A. Smith and Lonzo Ball. So recently, Stephen A. Smith, he basically said that Lonzo Ball has problems with sitting down and standing up. And what happened was Lonzo Ball, he decided to basically do a video, and he showed that he could get up and sit down, get up and sit down. He was doing pistol squats on a chair. And he basically said, I'm coming back. And Steve, and then the next thing you know, Lonzo Ball, he also questioned Stephen A. sources. Who are they? Because Lonzo Ball was proven that, he's gonna be coming back and stop with the lies about, I can't sit down and I can't stand up. That's basically what Lonzo Ball was demonstrating in that video. Because Stephen A. Smith, he was wrong. And where were Stephen A. sources during those times when he said that? And then the next thing you know is Stephen A. Smith, he goes on his podcast and then he essentially decides to be insensitive and say, yeah, we saw what you did, but you're hurt. You're hurt. Okay. Without acknowledging the fact that Stephen A. Smith said that, you have trouble with sitting down and standing up. Like you were trying to say that it's that bad in terms of how hurt that he was. And you don't know if he's ever truly going to come back. Listen, Stephen A., the best thing that you probably could have said was, you know, he may not be the same player. But no, you decided to go way further than that. You was like, I know the person who did the surgery. I know where it was done at. I know all this stuff. That was exactly what Stephen A. Smith went to. Instead of just, you know, saying that, congrats, I'm happy to hear that you're coming back soon, and I'll be ready to see you on the court when it happens. But no, you felt like your ego was struck because he questioned your sources. That's not fair to Lonzo Ball. And there was another time when your sources were questioned that week as well, because Stephon Diggs and his quarterback, Josh Allen, you made the claim that they were having issues. And then Stephon Diggs said, that's not true. So who are your sources for real? And it's wrong for Stephen A. Smith to do that. I mean, overall, Stephen A., he's been having a pretty bad week. Allegedly, he had gotten a text from Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan, he said in his text that he read on nationwide TV saying that Magic Johnson is the best point guard of all time. And he was sick and tired of Stephen A. trying to basically give a reason for why Steph Curry is better than Magic Johnson. Now, the question is Why is Michael Jordan sending you that text at 5:45 in the morning? That's just hilarious in itself. Okay. I can't see him doing that personally. Okay. But even if it did, hypothetically speaking, that doesn't look good on Stephen A. Smith's part, anyways. It just doesn't. The fact that Michael Jordan had to text you and tell you that Magic Johnson is the best point guard ever. I mean, he completely sunned Stephen A. Smith with his reasoning. He did. In fact, after Stephen A. Smith read that, he initially shut up, didn't even give his reasoning for why he believes Steph is the best all time. I think I know why. It's because Stephen A. Smith was afraid of not being invited to those Jordan parties anymore. That's really what it was. All right. Hypothetically speaking, if Stephen A. Smith even truly got the text from Michael Jordan in the first place. So, and just to add this in there as well, I mean, Michael Jordan, I mean, he also took a shot at Isaiah that nobody else was really trying to read between the lines on. Because we all know that Michael Jordan had always said that Isaiah Thomas was the second best point guard of all time. I mean, he had been saying that for years. Even in the last dance, he said that. Okay? He had been saying that. You know what he said about Steph Curry? He said it's very close. That's what he said about Steph Curry between Magic Johnson and Steph Curry. He made it seem as if he has a number two and Isaiah Thomas isn't even in the picture anymore. If Stephen A. Smith had gotten that text from Michael Jordan, because that's allegedly one of his sources. Now, that doesn't mean that Michael Jordan isn't in this context. I believe that he is. But I'm just saying it doesn't look good with the way that things are going in terms of, Stephen A. Smith getting called out like this over and over and over again. I mean, just imagine what happens when Shannon Sharpe finds out how wrong that Stephen A. Smith is. I know he can't yell with Shannon Sharpe. He can't. All them little screams and stuff like that is going to be turning into a whisper around Shannon Sharpe because Shannon Sharpe knows how to project his voice to a certain octave that's going to get Stephen A. Smith aggravated because he can't yell with Shannon Sharpe, even if he tried. It's just the facts. Okay? But yeah, I believe that was a little shot at Isaiah Thomas because Isaiah Thomas, he had basically been taking shots at MJ for a very long time. I mean, he's still doing it over and over and over again, bringing up his name. And I believe that the fact that he said that Steph Curry is essentially number two all time in terms of being the greatest point guard, that basically told me that he was taking a little shot at Isaiah. Because, like I said previously, he had been saying all the way up until the last dance that Isaiah Thomas was number two all time, the second greatest point guard of all time. So that's what I think for that little situation right there. And it's not like MJ is somebody who's going to be talking about Isaiah Thomas on a consistent level, like how Isaiah Thomas talks about Jordan. I mean, essentially, the beef is very one sided, very one sided. But I digress. Stephen A. Smith, he looks very bad. Okay. And I think it's going to be even worse, especially if Shannon Sharp, gets on his LeBron James over Jordan talk on First Take. Because, like I said, Stephen A. Smith cannot outtalk or outshout Shannon Sharp. He can't. But we're definitely going to see what's going to happen from here on out with Stephen A. Smith. So that's it on my perspective on the situation with Lonzo and Stephen A. Smith. And also, just some of the things that Stephen A. Smith has been wrong about. So that's my perspective. Have a good one.